If you want to see that one more closely, you just click on full screen and you'll be able to see that document more clearly. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to jump right in and start with our first subject, which is the site management. Okay. Now, for some people, it looks like we have quite a few people, or the people that are with us, they are familiar with all these resources. But this is also will be archived and will be used for those that are new to using these tools within site management, like new Illinois WorkNet coordinators and Illinois WorkNet managers. So with site management, I like to refer to as site management as really like the backbone or the spine of the workforce professionals pathway, because it's really important. It's the way we organize our information, and everything's connected to the sites, and is related to how we display information, how we provide access to resources, and how we organize information within the workforce professionals pathway. So it's really important. So for our different sites, we have access sites that are sites that provide computer access, and if they're open to the general public, then they populate the find a location near you. We also have dissemination sites, and a dissemination site is a site that doesn't have computer access, but they still provide the resources for individuals that direct them to Illinois WorkNet. And then we also have our business sites. And our business sites are locations that have business service teams. So that would be used to, like in our business service directory, or to find services for our business side. The information, it's really important that we have the workforce professional account associated with the correct organization. That's our Illinois WorkNet partner. This affects our customer groups. Also affects the communication and messages that are sent out, as far also reporting, and soon it will also affect our assessments that we're going to be offering through Illinois WorkNet. So you get a sneak peek into our assessments as well. Let me move to our next page. There's different ways that people can become an Illinois WorkNet partner or get that information into our site management database. So what we encourage individuals or organizations to do is to set up their own site within site management. And they can do that easily by going to illinoisworknet.com, clicking on the Workforce Professionals pathway. As soon as you come to this page, you have your different options. They would select the option to become an Illinois WorkNet partner. First of all, what they would do is select or check to see if they're already a site, because we don't want to have them go through the process and have just for it to be a duplicate site. So we would check to see if they're already a partner. If they're not a partner, then what they would do is select to add request to become an Illinois WorkNet partner site. And we have two options. So if they are not already, if they don't already have an Illinois WorkNet account, completely and totally new to this location. So it gives me the map. I just select my area of the map, wherever I'm located, and I enter, excuse me, I enter my information. And what this will do will automatically set up my Workforce Professionals account, and it kind of keeps it in limbo until my organization is approved. And once it's approved, then my account will automatically be approved, and I'll be have an organization admin role and the primary contact for the site. Now, the other option is if I want to set up a partner site. Let's say I have a location in Springfield, and I already have an Illinois WorkNet account, but I have a location in Taylorville that I need to get set up. So I need to make sure that to get that site set up. But I'm already in the Workforce Professionals pathway. So I can go ahead and click on option 2, and what it will ask me to do is log into my account, if I can spell it right. And once I log into my account, then it just takes me directly to the place where I start entering my site information. And it uses a wizard approach, so you're not entering unnecessary information. So if you're an access site, it'll ask you if you have any computers available for your customers to use with Internet access. If you say yes, then it'll walk you through the next steps to collect information about your computer, your resource lab, or your resource room. If you don't have computers available to your customers that have Internet access, then you're called a dissemination site. So there's no sense in asking you those questions. So it will not require you to answer those questions. So again, this is the wizard approach, and this is what we encourage organizations that want to become an Illinois WorkNet partner to use this approach whenever they are requesting to become a partner site. And this is spelled out in the PowerPoint. Hold on. Okay. Will you be discussing adding? I see a chat question from D. Will you be discussing adding professionals whose organizations are not a partner but should be? Yes. Okay. So if they are not, if their organization is not a partner, then we would
Right.
say, definitely request them to, use this, this to enter the information themselves, especially because they can set up their account and set up their organization at the same time. So
But
that
what
would
if their organization isn't interested in being a partner, but they want to be a workforce professional?
okay. Um,
I can just
I
add
don't
them in
really.
underneath the LWIA, right?
Well, not. I'm sorry. Yeah, through your organization.
The
But
WorkNet Center.
the challenge is with that is that they have, uh, if they use anything like a customer group, then their contact information is going to refer back to your organization. So it depends on like the type of tools and the messages that we send out and the access levels that what they would have access to. I mean, if they have like a public viewer access, then they really aren't going to see a whole lot. But when we get to the customer groups and giving them the ability to send out messages to customers and invite customers in, their contact information won't necessarily be correct because that'll
Okay,
be
so let me give you this situation.
okay.
I have about 10 school counselors from one school district
Uh-huh.
who all want to get their Certified Illinois WorkNet Advisor certification,
Uh-huh.
but the school district isn't going to become a partner.
Okay.
So where would I put them?
Um, what's the reasoning for not wanting to be a partner?
I I guess probably because we haven't approached the school district. These were the counselors that are taking this initiative.
Yeah. I would think that they could go ahead. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like what
Oh,
Jeannie just
okay.
said. Yeah,
What
go
Jean
ahead and
just
make
said.
it like a dissemination site. That's what I was thinking
Okay.
too.
Okay.
And especially, because they can put it down. They could become a dissemination site, or if they wanted to be put down as an access site, that's not open to the general public. Because obviously you can't
Okay.
send anybody to a school.
Right. It would only be the students.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but we
Okay,
definitely
cool.
want to, that's a very good question, because we definitely want to make sure that everyone's associated with the correct organization. It just makes things easier in the long haul. So,
And so
yeah.
then if I have somebody who I added in under another organization, or that actually technically belongs to another organization, I should go ahead and add their correct organization as a dissemination site and then move them over to that organization.
Yes. Too, with that, whenever they, oh, yeah, got it here. Excuse me. once once somebody has submitted a site request, let me go down, I hit the wrong thing. Whenever somebody has submitted a site, there we go, request, then what they'll do is they get an email that says, are you sure you want to submit this for approval? And that way, we just make sure that, it really is a legitimate person that wants to do that. So they click yes, or click this link, and it'll send you, the coordinator, an email to approve the site. And if the site is an appropriate site, then you can just, we'll look at site management here in just a second and just select that it's approved, or you can deny it. And if it's denied, just type in a message why it has denied. Maybe it's a duplicate site, or maybe they charge for services that are free through Illinois WorkNet, whatever the case may be. But then that way, they know why it has been denied, and the system will automatically send them a message that if it's been denied. If it's approved, then the person that has their account, that set up their account, whenever they set up their organization, it'll automatically be approved and given the role of an organization administrator. So that's an overview of options 1 and 2. Okay. And then the next thing would be, we have options 3 and 4. We have all kinds of options for you. So if you are a site coordinator, site LWIA manager, or an organization administrator, within site management, my page will look a little bit different than yours because, again, it's at the state level. But what you can do is we'll go ahead and click on View Sites, and you'll see that we have, at the top, we have or it has your LWIA and then a number. This top level is simply a placeholder. It's what we call a parent organization, and it's a way to organize information across the state. So all of your sites are called the children's sites, and they're organized within this, basically like a bucket. Is how we organize all your information. So we don't want users associated with this top level. It's, again, just keep it in mind, it's just a bucket to hold all of your other organizations and all of your other workforce professional accounts. So we're in the process of, if there's anybody in those sites, we're working on doing some cleanup and moving them to the organization level. And if you can do that, then that's great. If not, you might have some people contacting you, and we're working on that right now. Okay, so this is what your site administration looks like, and you'll see your site name, your address, whether it's an active site or not, whether the type of site is an access dissemination or a business. Actually, if it's business, it won't have anything in this column. You can see here. And then we'll have the site type is either an individual site or a business site. If it's an individual site, it's those sites that assist individuals. Yes, they may be a business, but they're assisting individuals. So they might be a site that offers a computer lab, or they may not. If it has a category of a business, those are the locations that have business service teams. And then you'll see a source. Now, if it's a WorkNet source, it's been added using the options 1, 2, and 3 that we're going to take a look at. That means that it's been added any other way except through IWDS. If it's an IWDS source, and so what you'll see is we have padlocks on some of these areas. And so those fields are locked. The only way you can update those fields is through following the DCO policy 06PL24. So we have a link to that policy, and it provides the instructions on how to update IWDS. That's the only way that we can update those fields. Okay. Now what you'll receive as a coordinator, yes. Hello?
I just wanted to check my mic. This is Juana. I'm just testing my mic. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay,
unmuted.
that's fine. Okay. Um, and
Thanks.
so as we go through, okay, so as we go through these, I'm sorry,
I
so
wanna.
what you'll receive are messages, and sometimes you'll receive a message that says this site has been changed through IWDS, and so it'll give you an update on what has changed, and it will be within these locked fields. If sometimes you'll receive a message that says this site has been added through IWDS, and so what that means is that there are some other fields that are required that do not have the locks, and we need you to go in and update that information. Because remember, the resource room, the IWDS resource rooms, are the ones that are being used to populate this the site management, because they offer access to computer labs that have Illinois WorkNet. And so they'll be able to find these locations through the Find a Location Near You. And so we need to make sure that we have all of the items that, all the information correct, and all of the services that are available identified for that location, because people are going to be using that to find a location. Another thing that we ask is that whenever you do your hours of operation, that you spell out the Monday through Friday or whatever day it may be for translation purposes. Because if you put M through F, it doesn't really translate at all. So just kind of keep that in mind. Whenever you have been notified that a site has been, or a request for a site has been added, you'll get an email. You click on the link to the email, and you'll come to this form, and you'll see if it says submitted or approved. If it's submitted, you just simply review the information, say approve it, and save it, and you're done.
Natasha,
Yes.
this is Dee.
Yeah.
When you're saying about the Monday through Friday kind of
Mhm.
thing,
Mhm.
there are a couple of different websites that I've Wednesday. Is that possible to put in here so that we don't have to worry about making sure that we've typed the right words in there
Yeah, I mean, yep, I can put that into our,
to the
whenever we
programmers?
update, whenever we go to updating this portion of the portal, then I'll definitely, let me write that in, check boxes.
And then after it had, if you checked Monday, you propagated the hours into the first box based on what they let you put,
Gotcha.
and then it fed it, and then you could change it if it wasn't the same for all of the days.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then you don't have to worry about people not typing it properly.
Right, good suggestion. I have it noted. We'll put that in our plan of things to, as we move forward, so thank you. So, okay. So here, so that's the information on sites that are already in site management and how to approve them. Let me go back into site management. And if I want to add a site, all I do is click on the button to add a site. And if it's a business, I can click business, and it'll get, if I have a business service team, I can click business, and it'll give me the form to complete the information for this particular site. So it's a little bit different, as you can see. Let me go back. I'm going to click on individual, because when I click on individual, again, it takes me to the same wizard that my customers or the organizations that are requesting to become a site. It's the same wizard that they use. So again, you're not answering unnecessary questions. Option 4, the information is automatically updating Illinois WorkNet site management through IWDS. Okay. So we covered quite a bit of information on the site management, but it really is important that we start out with making sure all of our sites are set up properly. Okay, the next area that we're going to talk about is setting up your partners, because once you have them into site management, we need to make sure that they're set up properly. So let me go ahead and go to my screen. Now, as an Online WorkNet partner, I've already submitted my site information. My account has been approved. You've contacted them and said, okay, these are the little things that we need to do to make sure that your resource room is set up properly. And so they log into their Online WorkNet page, and right here, the very first right next to the great big one is resource room. Make sure your resource room is set up properly. Now, actually, when we do this, if you don't have a resource room that has computers, we have information here for a dissemination site. Talks about, the different marketing materials that you can use to help direct individuals to Online WorkNet. And then we also have access site information. So with this, we have some information about, the marketing materials, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But what I want to focus on right this minute is we have different options for setting up your computer labs. If you can have Illinois WorkNet set up, you're an access site, okay, and you can have Illinois WorkNet as your home page, then we have basically a little wizard tool that will allow you to set up your resource room computers with your site-specific URL. And this will help you get a better idea and understanding of your usage within Illinois WorkNet, because it can, specifically count or keep track of those people that are within your LWIA, in addition to the people that might be using Illinois WorkNet at home or at a friend's house, through their Illinois WorkNet account. So there's a couple ways. They can track it by those numbers that when people have an account and they log into their account, those numbers go towards your usage. But then the big thing is your site-specific URL. So that's the very first option. That's the preferred option. And so if I click on this link, it takes me again to another wizard type tool, and I'm going to select my Illinois WorkNet centers. And let's say I'm going to click on WFX. I have D right here. And it gives me a listing of my access sites. And so I can go here and I can click on it. I'm not going to actually click on this because it will change my home page to the site-specific URL. But it just is as simple as clicking on the link and it changes your URL for you. So that's an option that's available. Okay, and then the next option is to have the desktop shortcut. Okay, so there's instructions here for just placing an Illinois WorkNet icon as a desktop shortcut. Now let's say I have maybe like a community college and they're my partners, their access site, but according to their rules, that they want their website to be their homepage, which is understandable. But what you can do, they could do a combination of a couple things. They could have their desktop shortcut, but then they could also add a link off their website homepage to Illinois WorkNet. And so we have different types of graphics that are okay. So that's some information about setting up your partner sites. Now, as a shortcut, we've also bumped this up where it says your site-specific URL appears, so that if that's all you need and you're going through your resource room and you're signing setting up your pages, it's just right here to minimize the number of clicks for you. So it's available in the quick links and also in number 1. The next thing is in number 2, we have some just general an overview of some resources that are available to you based on your category. Are you a community partner? Are you resource room staff? Are you case manager, business services team member? Just real quick highlights of what's available within the Workforce Professionals pathway as tools. We've also made some changes over on the left-hand side. Right now it looks like I have a whole lot of things because I have access to several tools. But what you can do, we try to minimize the number of tools on the left-hand side and let you customize it for yourself. So if you'd like to request more tools, you can click on Request More Tools. And we kind of have an overview of the tools that are available. And then below that, we have a listing. And if you click on any of these yellow lines, we call these accordions, they open and close. And then information on how to request access for that tool. So that's available on your home page or your dashboard. Okay. The next thing that we just covered that information. The next thing is user management. Let me go ahead and maximize this real quick. Now with user management, this is important for coordinators and managers as well. We want to make sure, especially since your workforce professionals have access to customer information, that we want to make sure that the people that are requesting access and having access, are the appropriate people. So for one thing, whenever a new request comes in, to approve that person to have access to Illinois WorkNet, you need to give them a user role, or they will not be able to access Illinois WorkNet, the Workforce Professionals pathway. If you have somebody that submitted a request and they're not appropriate, and maybe they should have an individual's account, you can let us know, and we can switch over their request to an individual's account, or you can just contact them and say, this may not be the most appropriate account for you. We suggest that you set up an individual's account or a business account, either way. We do understand that there are some situations where maybe a location closes, and so maybe you have inactivated or the organization within your site management database, because you can do that if a site closes, or maybe they were hooked up with an IWDS site that has closed, or that's not identified as an IWDS site anymore. What would happen is we have those workforce professionals hanging out there in limbo. They don't have an organization, and we need to make sure that they're associated with an organization. So you can switch them over to another organization through user management, and you can also inactivate or disable their account. So if they have been fired or if they've quit for another job, you can delete their account, which inactivates it so that they don't have access to resources that they're not supposed to. So to get to user management, I'm going to click on my site admin link. I'm going to go to user management. If you accidentally inactivated a site, you can take a look and see if they've been inactivated, and so forth. You can also do a quick search, maybe just enter a few of the first letters of their last name, and for that organization or throughout your organization, you can see based on your search criteria that you entered. So I was searching for Mike Cook. Once I see his name, then I can select him. And his information populates the fields below. And if I needed to change his organization, then I would just simply switch, and this view will look a little bit different for you because it'll be your LWIA and all of your sites. But you can change his organization using the field that says site. If you needed to change his level of access, maybe he's a public viewer, but he needs to be an organization administrator, you can do that as well. Let's say his email address changed. You can go ahead and update the email address, or if the password needs to be reset. So one of the things that we first of all encourage a person to do is use forgot password whenever they first try to log in. That's the best way for them to reset their password. Then we're not caught in the middle with knowing what their password is. But you can reset their password for them. And if you needed to delete the person, you could just click on delete, and that would inactivate their account. So that would be appropriate if they're no longer with the organization, or their organization is no longer a partner for one reason or another. If you have a person that has been inactivated, we can reactivate their account. So we definitely don't want them to set up a duplicate account. I can't remember off the top of my head. I would need to log in as a coordinator or a manager and see if you have the ability to reactivate them. I think you do, but I would need to double check that. If not, I can talk to the programmers about that as well, or send us an email in the meantime, in the short term. So good question. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and maximize this. Okay. So the next topic are our online courses. So with our online courses, those that have been around for a while understand and know that, right now, whenever you have an Illinois WorkNet partner, you need to go in and pre-register them for the course. So what we've done, or we're working on, we're in the process of streamlining that process. So basically, it's less work for the managers and coordinators. They don't have to sign a person up for the online courses. It's going to be offered through Illinois WorkNet. Right now we use Angel Learning Management System, and actually we're going to use this through Illinois, just offer it through Illinois WorkNet. So it still remains a single sign-on. So once you're into your Workforce Professionals account, you can easily get to your modules. We're changing from the 4 courses to more of a modular approach. So you'll still have your basic picture. So while our SEWA course was good when it walked you through the different resources that are available, this takes a bigger picture approach. So you can see how the business side, the individual side, and the workforce professionals pathway all work together. And we're trying to use more of a scenario-based, have it more scenario-based. So you'll still know and be directed to the resources that are available in Illinois WorkNet, but it's going to be put into the context of how does this fit in with daily activities as opposed to just simply plop, here it is. So that's what we're working on right now. And one of the things that we should get probably a big cheer from the managers and coordinators is now the person, whenever they log in or they're approved for their Workforce Professional account, will automatically be registered for the foundation modules. So you don't have to do that. And then if they would like to take any of the additional modules, then they would just simply self-register to take those additional modules. They still have 90 days to complete the modules and earn their certificate of completion. And a lot of your partners should be really excited about the fact that instead of having a recertification course, it's going to be a test. So, if they know the information, then great. They can just simply take the test and score their 80% or higher and get renew their certification. If not, the modules will be available, so they can just simply review the information, take the certification test, and they are good for another year. We
Natasha,
also, yes,
on the
yes,
on the SEWA course right now, there are some CEUs associated with it.
hmm
Will there still be?
yes, yep. They'll still
And
earn their CEUs through SIU.
and then for the recertification, will they still?
I believe, yes,
And if you've earned your CIWA, you have to recertify annually?
yes,
Okay. Do they
yes.
notify you of this? I mean, are you sent an email when it's time for you to
Yes. Yeah, right now you're automatically send a notice, but actually with this we're going to use more of the messaging system so that if a person is going to be, let's say they're up for recertification, they'll receive notices that, you need to complete your recertification, blah, 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 you have X number of days to complete it. And then let's say that they pass that date, then they'll just receive a message that directs them to say, please take the recertification exam. And so they take the quiz, and if they pass it, then great, they're good for the next year. If they don't pass it, then they'll still have access to the Workforce Professionals pathway, but they'll be reminded that they need to take the
2009, and I've never been told that I need to take the recertification.
Yeah, it wasn't, we didn't use more of a system that was more of a nagging system.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just sent out. This will be more of a, um, I shouldn't use that term, nagging, a reminder, a friendly reminder. How about that?
Okay.
It'll be, like you said, it'll be more in the forefront using the messaging system. And it's not um, meant to lock you out of Illinois WorkNet, but it'll be an automated process. But it'll be when you log in, you'll be notified, and then it just redirected. So you'll have to take the quiz and before you can get into the workforce pathway. So
Okay. Okay.
there's an escalation process.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
that's what we're trying to do.
Are
Keep
they also
everybody
going
on
to
board.
do this? Are they also going to try and do the similar process with the SEWA course so that if somebody logs on as a professional and they don't ever take their course?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. You'll have to do the same thing. You have 90
Okay.
days to do it, and if you don't do it within 90 days, then you're forced basically to take some action on the modules before you can have access to the workforce pathway. So we'll chip away at it to
Thank
get
you
them
very
to complete it.
much.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Thanks.
that's our goal, to streamline it for you.
Good.
So let me show you real quick. Because I'm running a little bit behind, but I'm going to show you real quick. So you'll still have your course. It's called course pre-registration right now, but again, you won't be pre-registering anybody. They'll automatically be registered. So this will still be the place where you can take a look, and because I know you'll be interested in taking a look to say, okay, well, who is in this course and who's not. Um, so let me just go ahead and you can still look at who's not in the course, who's in the course, and then whenever you get the information, then you'll still be able to see, their name. Are they in good standing, which means, you know, are they within their 90 days, or are they past their. This tool will still be here for you, but instead of having to use it to pre-register people, it will be more of a reporting, pulling the report, getting an overall view for your LWIA. Okay. So with our next screen, we get up our next page. Okay, so for the activity reports are available for you, and this is where you can simply take a look at your new registrations, average sessions per day. You can pull your quarterly reports, summarize them. So those tools are available for you through the Workforce Professionals Pathway, and that's why it's really important to make sure that your resource rooms are set up properly with this specific site URL, because you'll be able to get more accurate information and basically, get credit for what you're doing. So whenever you select a report, you're given search criteria. And again, yours would just be for your LWIA. It's just showing right now for all of them. But based on the search criteria that's available for that report, that will populate. You enter the search criteria and display the results, or run and export those results for your LWIA. The next thing I know is Dee's favorite topic. Okay. Oh, one thing I didn't mention, which is a good question. Okay, on your user management page, because Dee's question was, who has access to the activity reports? And right now, we have a user role and access level matrix, and this gives a brief overview, or in a matrix format, of who the different types of user roles that we have available, and also what access level. So is it a create access level? Is it a read access level, update, or delete? those different types of access levels, and that's available looking at your user role and access level matrix. So really, right now, to answer your question, Dee, the Illinois WorkNet coordinators and managers have access to the activity reporting. Organization admin does have access to the activity reporting. However, we still need to, technically they have access to it, but we need to add in reports for them. So they can click on it, but what we need to do is the programmers are going to add in a report so they can look at just their site-specific information as far as like usage. So that's in the works right now. Okay. So let me go back over for the activity reporting. So that's activity reporting. Now I'm going to because the next thing we're going to talk about are quarterly reports, Dee's favorite topic. And
I just
whenever,
love them.
I know you do. I know it. That's so great, huh? So what we have for under site admin, we have reporting and we have quarterly. Now again, this is at the OEM manager. So as an OEM manager, you can see all of these sites. As an OEM organization administrator, you can only see your site. Now, one of the things, just to add another level of complexity, I guess, or it's meant to be a tool to help you out, is whenever you're doing your site management, you can identify a primary contact, okay? So even though maybe I'm with the DuQuoin Family Opportunity Center, I might be a primary contact for the Carbondale and West Frankfort office as well. And if that's the case, then I would be able to see all of these quarterly reports for whatever I'm a primary contact for. Because we understand that your home-based location might be in one area, but you might be in charge for maybe 3 or 4 of them. So if that's your situation, then you just need to be added as a primary contact to those organizations where you're supposed to be the primary contact. Okay, so for each of these areas, we have your address, then we have the status, whether it's not started or complete, and then we also have a listing here for is the report required or not. So as a manager or a coordinator, you can easily see which reports are required. And the reports that are required are access sites that are WIA funded. Those are the sites that are required. The additional locations are, if they're not a WIA-funded location, okay, real quick. The sites that are WIA-funded locations that are access sites, the report is designed to measure the level of integration, okay? And all this information, if you want to learn more about the levels of integration and the rubric and who completes which reports, those are available up where it says quarterly reports, instructions, and resources. So the WIA-funded sites, they measure the level of integration. The sites that are not WIA-funded, it's just simply yes/no questions on how are you using Illinois WorkNet, and it can be used as a communication tool. Some areas like to use it as a
Okay, so now
I
my
know Dee had a
question
question.
for this area, does DuQuoin Family Opportunity Center see that their report is required? And does Career Services SIU see that their report is not required? Because my goal is to have everybody that's a partner complete their quarterly report, and if they see that the
Right,
report's not required, then that may not incentivize them to get it done in the appropriate amount of time.
right. Let me just log in. Let's see.
Thanks, Natasha.
And either way, we'll have it. Let me write a note to myself. Either way, we'll have them go back and update that so that non-WIA sites do not see that the report is not required.
Yeah.
That's the end goal, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
okay.
Thank
So
you.
we'll make sure. Okay. So our next topic is. Let me move on to our next page. the marketing stuff. So for the marketing materials, when we used to have a special user role to access the marketing materials, and what we've done is we now use click wrap agreement. So basically, it's you agreeing to the use and terms, or agreeing to terms of use for using the marketing materials. So we have all different types of resources. Once you agree to those terms, then you have access to this channel. So we have different types of PowerPoints available. So we have blank PowerPoints if you'd like to use one of those. We have a looped informational PowerPoint that we just updated this spring. It has some of the new key sector pictures in there, and we updated some of the text and so forth. So that's been recently updated. Again, we have resources for the setting up your partners, focusing really on the marketing materials for this area. We have information for setting up a booth, again, highlighting the looped PowerPoint and some handouts and so forth. So again, it's all about in this area and then some of the other areas. We know that different people have different ways of searching for information, so we want to bring it up. In various situations. So for setting up your resource rooms or your partners, you can customize the materials that are available in Illinois WorkNet. What we do ask is that you use the Futura font, and you can download that font to your computer through Illinois WorkNet. We also have Illinois WorkNet logos that you can download and incorporate into your materials as well. We have graphic guidelines, and these will be updated as we are moving towards an update within Illinois WorkNet. So as we move towards that update, then those graphic guidelines will be available here as well. We have print materials. And so for our print materials, we have all different types of brochures and postcards. So the idea is that you don't have to recreate anything. We have lots of resources available here, and to keep a consistent look and feel and message across the Illinois WorkNet centers and the Illinois WorkNet partners. So again, postcards, brochures, business cards, letterheads, different flyers, and so forth. All different types of resources. We also have pictures and icons that you can use. We try to have a good mix of different types of people and scenarios. We have them organized by our standard individuals and businesses, but then our key sectors as well. So in some of these cases, you'll see that if you have an instance where you're focusing on youth, then you can go through these pictures and try to pick out people that they don't look like kids, but they're more youthful pictures. So we tried to, again, get a good mix of people and situations available. Okay. The other areas we have posters, banners, premium, signage. So we have all different types of resources here, so we just encourage you to take a look at those. I believe most of the people that are participating today are familiar with customer groups, but just for those others, we do have what we call customer groups. And the idea within a customer group is to make sure that we're giving our workforce professionals a means to communicate with their customers through the use of technology. So this will allow, like if a person within their Illinois WorkNet account, they've completed their their interest surveys, or they've completed different activities, there's information that the workforce professional can simply go into their customer group and take a look at those interest surveys or look at their activity responses. They can even send messages to their customers as well. So they can do all that through customer groups. And so right now we have we allow access to our Illinois WorkNet coordinators, and then they have to set up customer groups and add workforce professionals to those customer groups. And so what we're really doing is working on streamlining that process. Okay. And as I mentioned, you can take a look at this But this is some basic information where you can add new customers, export the information, communicate with your customers, take a look at their interest surveys, take a look at their activity information. So it's all different types of information that's available through the use of customer groups. And as we move forward, in addition to the assessments, the activities and the pre and post assessments that we have, we'll be adding additional assessments as well. So all of the results and all that information that's available for your customers will be compiled and available through customer groups. What we're using is, instead of the process where you have an Illinois WorkNet coordinator that has to allow access to each of the workforce professionals, we're trying to streamline that process and provide each workforce professional with the opportunity to use what we call our invitation process. So everybody will have access to customer groups. And what they can do is set up their customer group and either send an email or provide maybe a classroom or a workshop with the URL and to be added to the group. And so the person that has an Illinois WorkNet account or is getting ready to set one up can go to that, just click on that URL or type in that URL. They're directed to a page that explains what are customer groups used for, and if you already have an account, log in now, and then they're automatically added to your customer group. Or if they don't have an account, they can set one up, and then they're automatically added to the customer group. The idea being is that we don't want you to have to one person be responsible for setting up all these customer groups, and then others, adding each of these people, like searching for them and adding them individually. Instead, you can just send out the information to all the people that you want to be part of your customer group, and once they log in or agree to the terms, area that we're working on literally right now is we have been working on the sync with the IWDS customers. So the IWDS customers will automatically be put into customer groups for your LWIA. So we'll start out with universal, and then we'll be grouping them into adult, youth, dislocated worker, trade, so that people that already have access to IWDS will automatically have all these people at their fingertips through their customer groups through Illinois WorkNet. So if you don't have access to them through IWDS, then you would have to use the invitation process. But if you do have access to IWDS and those customers, all that information is going to be right there at your fingertips. Okay, and I'm going to, let me go ahead and I'm going to make this smaller. So if you have any questions, you make our chat so it's available to you. Implementation work group that's together. It's been put together, and they're providing some guidance on implementing a process for using assessments to assess workplace skills, work readiness for career and work-ready individuals. And so what we've done is we're taking a look at all the assessments that we currently offer. Not to say everybody has to use it, but it's just an example of what you could be using. And so that includes our computer assessment, skills assessment that's being updated, and also we want our programmers to update it so that you can save the results, and again, that will be available to view those results through customer groups. So we have career interest assessments that are already available. We have our Illinois WorkNet assessment that can be used as a pre-assessment. We are working on an observational assessment that's been developed by the Chicago Workforce Investment Council. So that will be made available through Illinois WorkNet. We've also been working with NOCTI with their 21st Century Skills Assessment to make that available through Illinois WorkNet as an unlimited access for Illinois WorkNet partners, and we're kicking that off with I see Dee has a question about WorkKeys, and WorkKeys is definitely an assessment that you can use, but these are just the ones that are provided through Illinois WorkNet at unlimited access to you, no cost to you. So definitely areas that use WorkKeys, you can continue on using WorkKeys. Okay. We do have, again, these were available for your downloads. You can take a look at them. They're just a draft copy. Again, it's not to say that this is exactly what you would have to do, but this is something that we're working towards as a possible process flow that you could use to incorporate, just a way, a suggestion of ways that we could incorporate our assessments. And so we're still working on this process. Once they're available through Illinois WorkNet, we'll have our early adopters go ahead and work through the process and work out any situations or kinks or anything that we might have so that we can streamline that process for our Stage 2 adopters. And again, we'll be starting with our WIA-funded locations first. Okay. This is just a general timeline that's been developed with our assessment implementation work group, kind of just a 4-year information. You guys are the first to know outside of the work group. And some of our basic steps, we've already worked on developing the implementation plan. The early adopters are beginning with their implementation plans and planning with that. We are working with implementing the assessments or technical implementation to offer that through Illinois WorkNet. We've been working with compiling national standards to just really simply as a way to crosswalk and provide a way to organize the information within Illinois WorkNet. So it's not reinventing the standards, it's taking all the standards that are out there, or not all of them, but a significant ones that have been identified, and putting them together to develop skill definitions, and then we can use that to help organize and provide that information through Illinois WorkNet. So then, no matter what type of their assessment results are, whether it's the observational assessment, the pre-assessment, worksite evaluation, whatever it might be, we can connect them back to the resources within Illinois WorkNet, and they can use that information to help them enhance whatever skill their assessment shows that they need to work on. Okay? That's where we are currently. As I mentioned before, that we were taking those national standards and compiling them. We compiled them into 12 areas that you see on the screen. And again, the idea is just a way of, this would be more, the wheel would be more of the individual's view. It's not concrete, so some of the colors might change and so forth. But the idea is that, again, a person would they want to learn more about leadership and teamwork, they can click on this area of the wheel, and we're going to use more of the computer skills icon, pull you through, guide you through approach. So whenever they click on the leadership and teamwork page, it would come to like the first page, or the first icon that would have an overview, maybe like a scenario or a self-survey to kind of draw them into the information. The next step is more of a detailed description of the skills and resources to help them enhance their skills. And then the third to the next level. You've been working on the foundation skills. Now we need to kick it up a notch and go to the management level skills. So that's the concept for providing this information. And definitely you can, I see at any time, feel free to email or call us. That's fine. That's great. We'd love to hear from you. But another thing that you can do is from your WorkNet homepage, questions, and then if you use the click here to request technical assistance, you can just simply click on that and it submits what we call a help desk ticket, and then we can direct that information to the right person and get back to you. If you want to use your microphone, I know Dia was using hers. You can just click, if you have one, you can click on the telephone at the top of the page, and I believe it says connect my audio. But you would like me to cover, I know we won't be able to necessarily do it today, but if there are any suggestions for webinars that you would like to see, you know,